The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Ding dong, the witch is dead? I don't know. This episode of Wizard of Oz, it seems like the house may have missed the witch, and the witch, that being the Pac-12, is still running about. Seems like the Pac-12 may have a deal in place that sources from the Pac-12 are saying are going to turn the football world on its ear. Especially the Big 12. Seems like that the reports of the demise of the Pac-12 may have been greatly exaggerated. Let's talk about it. Regulators, mount up. Another quote from a great Western movie, Young Guns 1 and 2, The Regulators with Billy the Kid. That's right, that's us, the Outlaw Posse. We're the regulators of college football and college sports in general, and even some politics. Because this is the OCF, that's the Outlaw of College Football, also known as JPC. That stands for Jesse Paul Clark on Facebook, spelled Jesse without the I. Also on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it. Seems like the reports of the Pac-12's demise may have been greatly exaggerated, as I said in the lead-up. One John Canzano, maybe I pronounced his name right, maybe I didn't. If I didn't, oh well. Y'all correct me in the comments. Anyway, he's a guy out there in Portland. I think it's a radio station 750 in Portland. Show called The Bald Truth. He was on Dan Patrick's show. Or I probably wouldn't have given it much credence because I really like Dan Patrick. Some people may not care for Dan, but I really like Dan Patrick and I respect anything that he really reports on. So he's on the Dan Patrick show, and he basically comes out and says that March 21st is going to be a great date for Pac-12 fans and administrators alike. And they've been saying this for a while. March 21st may come and pass, just like back when they were talking about when the year 2012 got here on the Mayan calendar, that the world was come to an end and meteors were going to shower down upon us. It may be a bunch of hullabaloo, and March 21st may come and pass and not shit happen. We shall see. But that's the date that he circled, and he said March 21st when they meet, all the CEOs in the Pac-12 and administrators meet March 21st, that there's going to be a hammering out of a deal that's going to put the college football world on its ear, supposedly. I'm sort of leery of that. I guess that's a good word for it. I really don't know if I believe it or not until I see it, because the Pac-12 has been trumpeting that horn for quite some time. And he goes on to say in this article that during those meetings, not only will they come up with a great TV deal that's going to include ESPN for their Tier 1 rights, but it's also going to have Amazon and Apple doing second-tier rights for streaming for their football. And he said this deal will surpass the Big 12's deal so greatly that the Big 12 may have a spastic fit, according to him. I mean, that ain't his words, but that's what he's alluding to. And I don't know, man. Until I see it, it's going to be hard for me to believe it. He also said that in that meeting, they're probably going to address expansion. Actually, the expansion news may be leaked before the TV deal on March 21st. That being SMU and San Diego State, to get the Pac-12 back in the Southern California market and get them in the big-time Texas market. As you know, SMU is in the city of Dallas. Back in the day, people that don't really know college football are young. Back in the day, SMU was a powerhouse in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They were pretty good teams. And then they run into some trouble with the NCAA, and they are still to this day the only team that received a death penalty, and they're just now recovering from that. That's probably why the NCAA never administered the death penalty again, but that's another story for another day. But that's the two teams that they want to add to get in those big money markets, and then, along with that big TV deal, he goes on to say, and he looks like he's taking shots. I'm putting up some graphs here off and on. It looks like he's taking some shots at the Big 12, like, oh, the Big 12 is going to be wham, 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 calls them little pet names and little backhanded, insulting type names in this article. And I'm like, why are you? Here's the question I have for Pac-12 people. You know, I don't mind you being happy about having a new deal and all that, and getting you 2 new teams and whatnot and bragging about it. That's fine. But what is y'all's angst with the Big 12, man? I mean, are y'all getting the conferences mixed up or something because their names are so similar? The Big 12 is not the one that put the screws to y'all. They're not the one that put y'all in this cluster. I almost said a real bad word. They're the ones that put y'all in this situation, and y'all continue to target the Big 12 like, nah, we got a better deal than you. We're gonna get this, we're gonna get that, we're gonna screw you. We're gonna take your teams, we're gonna take teams that you might want, blah, blah, blah. I just don't get it. If y'all want to be pissed off at somebody, why aren't y'all not pissed off at the Big Ten? They're the ones that you had this grand love affair with for almost 50 or 60 years with that Rose Bowl tie-in that screwed up everything, kept us from having a playoff, I think, in my opinion, for 50 or 60 years. Because of that silly tie-in that led into the tie-ins with all the other bowls that all the other conferences ended up having to do too. So I think your anger's a little misplaced. Now here's another question for the Big 12. Y'all happy and gleefully spastic about this stuff and trying to rub it in on the Big 12. What are you going to do when the Big 10 comes calling again? You think Oregon and Washington or Cal and Stanford are going to stay around for your grand little ESPN, Amazon, Apple trio of bullshit? I don't think so. The Big 10 comes calling again, your little TV deal is going to go down the drain. Y'all going to end up, probably the rest of you, are either going to have to join the Big 12 who you've been making fun of, or you're going to end up like Oregon and Washington State, probably going to end up in the Mountain West Conference. But you guys and gals, tell me what you think about all this stuff. Do you think it's something's going to go down March 21st, or do you think it's a bunch of smoke that they're blowing up our ass once again? Drop it in the comment section. Also, there's a heart down here. If you don't mind, hit that. Throw me a few dollars in the coffers. Keep me motivated. Keep me off that YouTube teat. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.